to the Prime Minister. Prime Minister, the President of the Maroomula Chamber of Commerce, Nigel Ayling, has said that his members have lost up to 60% of their annual turnover. But he says, and I quote, "When it comes to government assistance, it's a big fat zero, with 100% of respondents saying they have received no government assistance at all." Prime Minister, my bushfire-affected businesses want to know, why have you left them behind?
The Prime Minister has the call.
Well, Mr Speaker, I note that on the small business grants in New South Wales, there have been 674 applications. 111 have been approved, totalling some $1.9 million. There are 491 still being processed by the New South Wales Government. I'll ask the Minister to further update the House.
The Minister for Agriculture.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Can I thank the member for his question? And it's important to appreciate that there are clear lines of delineation about the delivery of these programs. The federal government, proudly, through the disaster recovery payment, 60% of the disaster recovery payment, $1,000 per child, $400 per child, was done within 30 minutes. The grant arrangements and the loan arrangements are administered by the states after agreement with the states in how those loans should be administered and the criteria in which they should be administered under, along with the grants. We continue to work with the states who have the sole responsibility of administering those and making sure that that money gets out. And with respect to the disaster recovery allowance in Bega Valley, 306 have been made. Also in Eurobodalla, 130 have already been made. Also for the agricultural sector in the seat of Eden-Monaro, 6,425 claims in Bega Valley and over 14,600 in Eurobodalla. So we continue to work with the states, who are the service level of government in this country, have and always will be in agreement. We continue to work with them, and last week the New South Wales Deputy Premier wrote to me asking us to think about the criteria that's in place for some of these grants and loans. We are, in fact, in the position already of exploring those options because of the feedback that we're getting listening on the ground. But we need the agreement of the states to be able to administer that. We're also looking at the application form, because the other piece that we have is when the states administer this, they create their own application form. And in New South Wales, it's different to what it is in Queensland as it is to South Australia. So we're working with them as quickly as we can to clear the red tape, to make sure that we get out of people's lives as quickly as we can, to make it as effective. You've got to understand there's a balance in this. This is Australian taxpayers' money. This is money that we need to make sure that we get out in an effective and responsible way. Well, you can yell and you can scream, but you can be calm and methodical and care about the lives who have been impacted by this disaster, and you do it in a calm, methodical way that protects the Australian taxpayer but gets real results. We've raised the facts. We've raised the facts that we have concerns about the administration of these loans and these grants by the states who have the responsibility for it. We're not walking away from them. We'll work with them to make sure they can streamline the process in administering. That is their role, that is their responsibility. But the federal government will not turn their back on any state or territory. We'll help them to do this better because it needs to be done better. Well, no one is walking away from that. We walk hand in hand with every level of government in making sure we support farmers, small business and particularly those Australians that have lost it all.